The pace of tit-for-tat actions by Russia and the U.S. has left little doubt that the two sides are moving at high speed towards a full-scale Cold War, like the one they were engaged in before the collapse of the former Soviet Union. The Russian President Vladimir Putin says that Moscow has developed a new cruise missile that is capable of beating down Western anti-missile shields. Putin also said that Russia has tested an array of new nuclear arms, along with missiles, which are capable of reaching any point on Earth.
Some analysts are suggesting you've tested it and it's failed, and that's why you only showed animations of it today and have not yet produced any actual videos.
Are you talking about ICBMs?
Yes, the one that you claim renders defense systems useless.
As a matter of fact, every single weapon system discussed today easily surpasses and avoids an anti-missile defense system.
But you've tested it?
The test was excellent. Some of them still have to be fine-tuned and worked on. Others are already available to the troops and already are battle-ready.
For the record, right now, do you have a workable ICBM that's powered by nukes that you've tested successfully?
All of those tests were successful. It's just each of these weapon systems is at a different stage of readiness.
The Pentagon later reacted to Putin's remarks, saying that it was not surprised by the announcement. The U.S. has yet to take its own reprisal measure, but it is believed that Washington will not sit idly, watching Moscow press ahead with its plans to upgrade its unconventional arsenal.
All the way through each stage of that process, with George Bush actually declaring, that they were withdrawing, and then 6 months later withdrawing, the ratification at the Senate, the announcement of this or that element of the anti-missile system being tested, the installation of the anti-missile system in various countries in Europe up to Russia's borders. In each case, President Putin, the defense minister, the foreign minister would announce that, look, we're going to have to address this, and it's a lot cheaper for us to do that in response to an anti-missile system, to overwhelm it.
Putin has also stressed that Moscow will regard a nuclear attack on its allies as an attack on Russia itself and will immediately respond.
Obviously, a statement like that made by President Putin, that in essence, if you use weapons of mass destruction against our people or our allies, we consider it, as you do, your stated policy, an attack upon you, and to be responded in kind. That statement of policy has to frame the activities in Syria and make people think very, very seriously about what it is exactly they plan to do there.
The bellicose tone of Putin's remarks, along with Russia's development of new unconventional arms, will definitely further strain ties with the U.S. The only war theater in which the U.S. and Russia are both active and risk clashing militarily is Syria. The two sides have been repeatedly warned against any confrontation in the Arab country. They have so far avoided a collision, but tensions between the two sides will have other ramifications for the situation in Syria.
That is a statement of policy that bumps up against various U.S. proxies shooting Russian pilots out of the sky over Syria. And, whatever is intended in the halls of, whether it's Langley or the Pentagon or the White House, for what's gathering on the ground in Syria, that there's going to be some sort of an engagement apparently threatened and has actually taken place in a number of cases already.
Some analysts say that Putin's State of the Nation speech was mainly intended to strengthen Russia's tough stance on what is seen by the country's people as a hostile West ahead of this month's presidential election. But the Russian president, to some extent, meant what he said, as Moscow has been grappling with what is known as NATO's creeping movement toward the country's borders. Russia says the Western military alliance's eastward expansion is in fact meant to encircle the country. Russia has steadily boosted its military capabilities over the past years in order to be ready for any eventuality, as tensions with NATO and its main and most powerful member, the U.S., have continued to mount.